Austria is known for its grand palaces, Alpine villages, and picture-perfect lakes. But once you start planning your trip, how do you know which places are genuinely worth your time? And not only that, but also what actually fits into your itinerary. In this video, we'll cut through the noise.
Oh. Bye.
We explored Austria over 2 separate trips and built you a list of 35 best places to visit in Austria, all based on first-hand experience and detailed research. Spend the next hour with us and you will learn what to prioritize, how much things cost, and how to plan a realistic route that actually makes sense. Let's begin. In our most recent trip, we spent 8 days covering the entire country, so today I'll take you through the entire route and introduce you to the top places as we go. As you follow the route, you will notice places marked in yellow that represent the places we were able to visit in our 8-day adventure and pins that approximate our accommodation locations. We land at Vienna International Airport and begin our journey from here. Before we proceed, let's talk about our first location, Vienna. Vienna is the largest city of Austria and the country's capital. We decided to skip it this time since we were here a few years back in winter. That time we spent a couple of days exploring some of its grand palaces, museums and Christmas markets. Schönbrunn Palace is a must-see with its opulent rooms and beautiful gardens. We recommend arriving early to enjoy the gardens for free before the palace opens up. Different ticket types are available, but base entry to the palace in summer season costs around 34 euros online. It is best to book online, especially if you come in peak season, because short-term visits without prior booking cannot be guaranteed due to the very high number of visitors. Belvedere Palace is another highlight, famous for its Baroque style and art collections. Entry to the upper Belvedere starts from 21 euros and combo tickets are available if you want to visit both palaces. We also had an opportunity to visit Hotel Sachet to try the famous sachet cake. Although we had to wait about 30 minutes to get in, the royal atmosphere inside the hotel made the experience worthwhile. The cake's fancy design was impressive, though we found it a bit overpriced and frankly not quite to our taste. Other notable spots include the Hofburg Imperial Palace, where you can see the Sisi Museum and imperial apartments for around 20 euros, and St. Stephen's Cathedral, a Gothic landmark with free entry. Climbing the tower or visiting the catacombs has a small cost. For some fun, the Prater Amusement Park features the iconic giant Ferris wheel, with rides costing a little over 14 euros. Getting around Vienna is easy thanks to its excellent public transit. Consider buying a Vienna City card for about 17 euros per day, which offers unlimited travel and discounts, or the Vienna Pass for around 89 euros per day, which grants free entry to many attractions. For our first stretch, we took a 200-kilometer drive to our first overnight stay in Graz. In this part, let's explore Semmering Railway, Riegersburg Castle, and of course, Graz itself. If you think trains are just for getting from A to B, wait till you see the Semmering Railway. The Semmering Railway is a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its impressive 19th century engineering and beautiful Alpine scenery. It runs from Gloggnitz to Semmering and continues to Mürzuschlag, with regular trains providing easy access. Tickets to different locations can be bought at stations or online. The most scenic section is between Gloggnitz and Semmering, where the train passes through 15 tunnels and crosses 16 viaducts surrounded by mountain landscapes. At Semmering station you can learn interesting facts about the Semmering Railway. In addition, you can take short hikes to viewpoints overlooking the railway, where you can enjoy the area beyond the train ride. Riegersburg Castle isn't just a dusty old fortress. It is active with stories of witches, weapons and birds of prey. This was our first introduction of the majestic Austrian castles, so when we drove towards the hill, it was very exciting to watch the castle gradually unfold with each turn. When we reached the parking lot, we faced the 3 different ticket options. Basic ticket for just over 8 euros that grants you the entrance to the outside grounds via the funicular ride, a little over 23 euros for outside grounds and castle access including the museums, and slightly over 35 euros for the full experience with the Bird of Prey show. was later that we realized the castle can also be hiked up with the basic ticket. The trail up is on the opposite side, a steep 20-minute path through fortified gates, passing through the fields and surrounding vineyards. Outside the castle, the area is quite spacious, and on a hot day, walking around the exterior alone was enough for us. If you have additional entry tickets, plan to spend at least 2 hours to see the castle interiors, museums, take a guided or audio tour, and watch the falconry show, which usually takes place a few times in the afternoon. There's a cozy tavern at the top for food and a small playground for children. The castle is open daily from 9 AM to 6 PM during the summer months. Have you ever underestimated a city only to find it full of pleasant surprises? Well, that's exactly how we felt. At first we underestimated Graz, thinking it would just be a quick stopover on the way to the real Austria. Turns out Graz is pleasantly relaxed and very authentic in itself. Despite being Austria's second largest city, it didn't feel overly crowded or touristy. One of the city's most striking features is the iconic clock tower atop Schlossberg Hill. It's a beautiful structure and you will spot it from literally anywhere within the city center. We climbed the 260 plus steps to reach it, which was a bit of a workout, but the beautiful gardens and benches along the way made the climb quite enjoyable and a nice chance to pause and take in the panoramic views of Graz's rooftops. If you prefer, you can also take the funicular or the glass elevator for a small fee. The city center is very walkable, and we covered the main attractions in a few relaxed hours. While wandering, we discovered beautiful spots like the Zell, a unique island on the Mut River, the lively square Hauptplatz, and several impressive churches and cathedrals. The Gothic Graz Cathedral and the Mausoleum of Emperor Ferdinand II are also nice places to visit. One of the more unexpected discoveries was a cave-like entrance at the foot of the Schlossberg Hill. Not only was it a cooling escape during a hot day, but it also has fairy tale train tours. The 30-minute ride introduces you to wonderful fairy tale worlds, which will be a great activity to do with smaller kids if you have some spare time. For those interested in art and architecture, the Kunsthaus Graz stands out with its modern, friendly alien design. Entry is around €12. If you have more time, consider visiting Eggenberg Palace on the outskirts, a Baroque palace with beautiful state rooms, roaming peacocks, and a park. Keep in mind most city museums close on Mondays. If you get the Graz card for around €30, among other things it includes free rides on the funicular and castle lift, which will be handy for Schlossberg. One day was enough to see the main sights, although looking back, I would not have minded spending an extra day. Up next, we head to the west end of Wörthersee, which is 160 kilometers away, about 2 hours drive. In this part, we were able to visit the Hochosterwitz Castle, explore the Wörthersee itself, and Pyramidenkogel Tower.
Have a good flight!
Did you know that Hochosterwitz Castle is one of the most heavily fortified castles in Austria? It was built on a 150-meter high limestone rock protected by 14 fortified gates. This design made it extremely difficult for attackers to reach the main castle, and it's famously known that no attacker ever made it past the 4th gate. We had a chance to stop by it on our way to Wörthersee and were immediately struck by how huge the castle actually is. Visitors have 2 ways to reach the castle, hiking up the steep ramparts or taking the inclined lift Fürst Max. The admission fee is €18 per adult. If you prefer the lift, it adds €10 to the entry price, making it 28 total. While on the spot, we realized that hiking up and crossing the castle gate would probably be the primary experience here. We decided to not enter it this time, so instead we paused to enjoy the exterior and surrounding landscapes. Up in the castle, visitors can explore the courtyard, a small chapel, and an armory filled with medieval weapons and armor. The panoramic view from the top overlooks the stunning Carinthian countryside. The castle is open from April to November. Wörthersee is a stunning lake located in southern Austria, famous for its warm, light blue waters and popular lakeside towns. When we arrived in Velden on the lake's west side, the holiday vibes were clear immediately, with many people enjoying the beaches and water. Here the lake's waters reach around 25 degrees Celsius in summer, just perfect for swimming and water activities. Most beaches around the lake offer very good facilities but require an entry fee, usually between 6 and 8 euros for a day. As much as we explored, we did not come across any free beaches around the lake. We received these Wörthersee cards at our hotel, which was very handy since it gave us discounts and even free access to one nearby beach, something you should keep in mind when planning your accommodation. Boat cruises are a popular way to explore the area. The hop-on hop-off boat pass costs about 21 euros when booking online and lets you visit towns like Velden, Pörschach and Klagenfurt, usually from April to October. While in the area, we took an evening road trip around the lake, stopping in Klagenfurt on the opposite end. Klagenfurt was busier but still had a nice holiday feel, with a pleasant beachfront and a nearby park perfect for a walk. For sightseeing, there's a Pyramidenkogel Tower nearby, which we'll talk more about in just a moment. In Klagenfurt, you can also visit Mini Mundus, a miniature park with famous buildings from around the world. It has an entry fee of 21 euros for adults. If you enjoy cycling, there are scenic bike paths around the lake, and renting a bike in Velden or Klagenfurt is a great way to explore. We experienced that dining by the waterfront in Velden can be quite expensive. We had lunch at a waterfront restaurant there, and it was probably the priciest menu of our entire trip. From the moment you approach and see it towering over the forest, you will know that Pyramidenkogel Tower is no ordinary observation deck. This world's tallest wooden observation tower stands 100 meters high on a hill overlooking Wörthersee. You can buy a ticket for 17 euros, and if you use the Wörthersee card, you get a 20% discount on this. There are two options to reach the top. You can take the elevator or climb 441 steps. We chose the stairs and enjoyed great views opening up with every level. There are signs which suggest stretching exercises along the way, which we found to be a nice little touch. At the top, the panoramic 360-degree views include Carinthius lakes, mountains, and even the Julian Alps and Slovenia on clear days. For a fun way down, I tried the covered spiral slide inside the tower. It costs an extra 5 euros and it is the longest of its kind in Europe. The slide is fast but not extreme, definitely suitable for most visitors. You sit on a cushiony seat and a staff member gently dumps you in.
Bye!
My ride took about 20 seconds. It felt quite fast, so I wonder if anyone can beat my time. There's also a zipline option for those craving even more adrenaline. The tower is open all year round. For day 3, we head to the Austrian Alps. Here we cross the Grossglockner High Alpine Road and head down to Zell am See, where we spend the night. You might think mountain roads are narrow and stressful, but the Grossglockner High Alpine Road surprises with its spacious lanes with easy access to breathtaking views. This 48-kilometer scenic route winds through Hochetower National Park, leading up to Austria's highest peak, Grossglockner, at 3,798 meters. We paid the entry fee of 45 euro for our car and started the drive on the spacious clean roads surrounded by towering mountains. Along the way there are plenty of stopping points with lovely picnic tables where we stopped for a snack break before continuing the drive. At the spot we discovered a small surprise. We took a short hike downhill that led to a small river downstream and a bridge. The road climbs steadily and signs track her elevation progress. We reached one of the highest points at around 2,400 meters, where there is a large parking lot and the Franz Josefs Hütte Visitor Center. This spot overlooks the Pastersee Glacier, Austria's largest glacier. The visitor center has a restaurant with indoor and outdoor seating that in such remote and scenic location was surprisingly very affordable. From this high point, the road starts descending in a serpentine fashion. We really enjoyed the refreshing and cool climate along the route, which was a nice contrast to the hot day in the lower parts. Right in the heart of the Salzburg Alps, Zell is a charming lakeside town centered around the stunning Lake Zell. When we arrived in the evening, we started with a quick dinner at a local restaurant where we got some insider tips about the nearby beaches. We were recommended a few free access beaches and went to visit one of them, Strandbad Maishofen. It is a small cozy beach area on the northern part of the lake that was just perfect for a relaxing evening. The recreational area here includes a bar, a restaurant, and even outdoor table tennis, which we gave a quick try. The waterfront offers breathtaking mountain views with swans swimming peacefully on the lake. Here the water was clearly colder compared to lower regions of Austria. For stunning views, the Schmittenhöhe mountain at 1965 meters is accessible by cable car from the town. A round-trip ticket costs a little over €31. At the top you will find easy walking trails and Alpine huts. In winter it's a popular ski area, while summer visitors often try paragliding. Nearby, the Sigmundtun Orge features dramatic wooden walkways and costs about €7 to enter. If you stay in eligible accommodations, be sure to get the Zellamsee Kaprun summer card. It provides free access to all public transport and discounted rates to cable cars, boat rides, gorgeous museums, and waterfalls. It would absolutely make your visit much easier and more affordable. On day 4, we head a little west from Innsbruck. This takes us about 226 kilometers and roughly 3.5 hours. On our way we got to explore Krimml Waterfall and Swarovski Kristallwelten. But this stretch is also surrounded by a few other highlights you should definitely consider: Zillertal, Olpererhütte, and the city of Innsbruck. If you think cold showers at home are refreshing, wait until you get a misty spray from Europe's highest waterfall at Krimml, dropping down nearly 380 meters over 3 tiers. The Krimml waterfalls are truly spectacular, and we found this spot to be among the best highlights of our entire trip. Before starting our adventure, we grabbed some brunch at the cafe. Since it was a hot day, we also bought some caps and began making our way to the waterfall. The most memorable to me was the lowest part of the waterfall, where the water crashes down. The sheer size and volume of the water are incredible, and here you can't avoid a refreshing shower from the mist that was honestly much needed. We got to learn that the waterfall effect and water's beneficial properties are an effective and sustainable natural remedy for allergies and asthma. Knowing that, it was really cool to experience the healing properties firsthand directly from the source. Later we took a 40-minute hike uphill along the waterfall trail, which was quite steep but offered nice spots to stop and enjoy different views along the way. Once you reach the top of the stretch, there is a flat area with a restaurant where you can take a little break. From here there is one final climb, but due to time constraints we did not continue there. Nonetheless, we can say from what we experienced that the lower part of the falls is definitely a must-see and shouldn't be missed. Let's go through some practical tips. The entrance fee is €9 for adults and parking costs an additional €6 for up to 2 hours of parking. The lower falls are accessible via a short, easy barrier-free walk of 10 to 15 minutes from the entrance and are wheelchair-friendly. The full trail to the top is a little over 4 kilometers, contains a 431-meter climb, and will take you roughly 1.5 to 2 hours. There are huts at both the lower and upper falls where you can buy snacks and drinks. Lastly, the falls are at their fullest in late spring and early summer due to the snowmelt. Zillertal offers a surprising variety of experiences within one valley. This large alpine valley is well known for its outdoor activities throughout the year. In winter, it attracts many skiers, while summer provides excellent hiking and biking opportunities. The Zillertal Scenic Railway is a historic steam train running between Jenbach and Meierhofen. The ride takes about 1 hour 45 minutes, featuring open-air cars and occasional live music. At the end of the valley, at the Hintertux Glacier, you get year-round skiing and summer snow activities. Cable cars ascend to 3,250 meters, with round-trip tickets costing up to 53 euros, depending on hour and the ascended mountain. At the summit, you can enjoy panoramic terraces, explore ice caves for an extra fee, and enjoy the summer snow. For scenic drives, the Schlangeis Alpine Road costs 18 euros for a car. It leads to the Schlangeis Reservoir and the 131-meter dam, which is a great place for some scenic hiking. If you plan to stay several days, the Zillertal Active Card could be a good investment. For around 92 euros for 3 days, it includes daily cable car rides, free public transport, and outdoor pool access. Public buses to valleys like Hintertux Glacier are free with this card. Right there on the southern end of the Zillertal Alps, you will also come across the Olpererhütte, which sits near a turquoise reservoir surrounded by glacier peaks. It is a well-known mountain hut, famous for its suspension bridge. To get there, you can drive or take a bus to my mentioned Schlangeis Stausee Reservoir. From the reservoir, the hike to the hut is about 4 kilometers with a steep ascent of around 600 meters. It takes roughly 1.5 to 2 hours for those that are more experienced hikers. A short detour from the main trail leads to the suspension bridge, crossing a creek, which is perfect for photos with the reservoir below. You can expect some queues here, especially later in the morning. The Olpererhütte offers food and drinks and has a sun terrace with panoramic views. You can also stay here in the shared dormitory rooms. The hut is open from mid-June to early October. Keep in mind that the hut has limited overnight accommodations, so if you plan to stay, be sure to book in advance. Swarovski Kristallwelten is a unique indoor-outdoor attraction located in Wattens, just about 20 minutes from Innsbruck. The entrance itself is quite unique, a giant's head with water flowing from its mouth. What's behind the giant's head, you might think? Well, we got a chance to find out. Inside, we had an opportunity to step into a hidden underground world filled with sparkling Swarovski art within the 17 artist-designed rooms. These rooms showcase exhibitions that highlight the exceptional quality of Swarovski crystals, along with light shows and even a crystal dome you can walk in. We found the audio guide helpful, especially if you prefer listening over reading. It mostly repeats what's on the reading boards, but with some extra details. Our favorite highlight was the room that senses your heartbeat and carries it over to a single crystal. There are many other creative exhibits, but I don't want to spoil them all. After the museum, the outdoor garden has plenty of recreational activities suitable for both adults and kids, including a maze, carousel, play tower, observatory tower, and a restaurant. Here you will also come across the Crystal Cloud, an impressive outdoor art piece made of 800,000 hand-mounted crystals. Tickets cost around 25 euros for adults. Overall, we enjoyed the visit, but it did feel a little overpriced. The indoor visit ends in the world's biggest Swarovski store. And as impressive as it sounds, it also makes the whole experience feel somewhat like a marketing play. All in all, it is a great option for a rainy day or a family outing. If you ever wanted to walk cobblestone streets with towering mountains as your backdrop, Innsbruck would be the perfect place for that. Innsbruck is the capital of Tyrol region, famous for its Alpine scenery and charming medieval old town set. Although we decided not to stop there, the city itself is quite a highlight and often makes it as a top destination for first-time visitors. Right in the old town, you will come across the iconic golden roof, which is covered with 2,657 gilded tiles. Maria-Theresienstraße is a lively shopping street filled with cafes and shops, offering beautiful views of the Nordkete mountains. For a unique experience, the Nordkette cable car takes you from the city center up to 2,300 meters in under 30 minutes, stopping at several stations, including Hafelekar with great panoramic views. A round-trip ticket to Hafelekar costs about 52 euros, but you can save a bit by traveling early in the morning or late afternoon. At Hafelekar you can enjoy views of Innsbruck and the surrounding valleys, and even take a short hike to the Hafelekarspitze peak. Another highlight is the Bergisel ski jump, designed by a well-known architect, Zaha Hadid, where you can climb up for amazing views of the city and mountains. A short bus ride will take you to Ambras Castle, a Renaissance castle with beautiful gardens, art collections, and the chambers of art and curiosities. Entry here is 16 euros. For convenience, consider purchasing the Innsbruck card, which covers cable cars, public transport, and entries to a variety of museums, the Alpine Zoo, and even to my previously mentioned Swarovski Kristallwelten. It comes in 24, 48, or 72-hour options, priced between 69 and 89 euros. On day 5, we stay at the same place and have a day trip ahead of us. On this day, we go 90 kilometers, taking about 1 hour 40 minutes, just across the northwest border to the Hohenschwangau and Neuschwanstein castles, and on our way back, we stop at Highline 179. Also in this area, on the southern part, you should consider the Silvretta High Alpine Road and Lünersee. Did you know that Neuschwanstein Castle inspired Disney's Sleeping Beauty Castle and draws millions of visitors every year? It is perched on a cliff, looks like a storybook castle, and is one of Europe's most visited sites. Just below stands the Hohenschwangau Castle, the Yellow Palace, where King Ludwig II grew up. It's important to know that entry inside the castles is not allowed without a guided tour, which lasts about 30 minutes each. We tried booking one for Neuschwanstein Castle over a month in advance, but it was already fully booked for the June season. The Hohenschwangau is usually easier to book. The tours cost a little over 23 euros for Neuschwanstein and 26 euros for Hohenschwangau per adult. As we reached, we found the next available tour was at 1:30 p.m, so we decided not to wait and instead explore the castle's exterior and the surrounding area. We took a 30-minute uphill hike to Neuschwanstein, which was steep but pleasantly shaded by the forest. In the end, we didn't really feel like we missed out by not going inside because there were many beautiful viewpoints outside. Our favorite one was from the Mary's Bridge, which presented a classic postcard view of Neuschwanstein Castle. It was quite crowded in the peak season, so it was difficult to enjoy the sight for longer than a few minutes. The bridge is accessible by a short uphill hike from the castle area. We ended up skipping Hohenschwangau as the heat exploring Neuschwanstein was pretty draining during the hot afternoon. However, Hohenschwangau is just a 15-minute walk from the village or accessible by horse carriage, so distance should not be a problem if you wish to visit both of the castles. Some practical tips. Pick up your tickets at the ticket center at least an hour before your tour. It takes some time to hike to the entry points, and if you come late, you will miss your entry. You have options of taking the shuttle or horse carriage if you want to avoid the uphill walk. Exploring Neuschwanstein grounds and Mary's Bridge is worth it, even if you don't plan to enter inside the castle. Right on site, by the Alpsee Lake, there is also the Museum of the Bavarian Kings, which is worth a visit if you have time. What does it feel like to walk hundreds of meters above a valley floor on a swaying metal bridge? We found out at Highline 179. As the longest Tibetan hanging bridge in the world, it stretches nearly 400 meters and is suspended 114 meters above the Erwald Valley. When we arrived, the bridge hung impressively high up above a spacious parking lot. Before the ascent, we stopped at the on-site restaurant, where the food was great and reasonably priced. You can either hike or take the inclined lift to ascend. We chose to hike up. The steep 15-minute hike was a good workout and a nice way to warm up for the walk across the bridge. At the bridge, we took our first careful steps onto the metal deck and quickly realized it was quite stable. As we moved further, the bridge began to gently sway. It was a windy day, so the movement combined with the height gave quite a chilling sensation. Especially when you look down and see how tiny the people and cars are below, you get to realize how high up we actually were. At the end of the crossing, we got to learn some interesting facts about the bridge and took plenty of photos with the Ehrenberg Castle ruins in the backdrop. the way back, we felt a little more confident this time. We even turned around and stopped to enjoy the scenery. And that's where our bravery got punished, when the wind caught Mil's cap and blew it straight into the dense forest below. So hold on to your belongings tightly, we learned it the hard way. There's a zipline at the top that looked like a fun way to descend, but since we were on the mission to find the cap, we hiked back down. Admission costs 10 euros for adults. If you prefer not to hike, the Ehrenberg liner elevator is 8 euros round trip. Here you should plan 1 to 2 hours to enjoy the area, the bridge, and exploring the free castle ruins, which include a small museum and informational panels. Nestled in the Austrian Alps, the Silvretta High Alpine Road links the Montafon Valley in Vorarlberg with the Paznaun Valley in Tyrol. This mountain route crosses the Billerhöhe Pass, which sits at 2032 meters above sea level. The road, commonly called as the Dream Road of the Alps, is about 22 kilometers long and is famous for its 34 hairpin turns on the Vorarlberg side. It is one of the go-to stretches for drivers, motorcyclists and cyclists to enjoy winding roads and breathtaking views of mountain peaks and lakes. During our trip, access to the road was closed due to the recent landslide. Since then, one part of it has reopened, but because access is very weather dependent, make sure to check their website for the current status before you plan your visit. To drive on here, there typically is a toll fee, but since the partial opening, no toll fee is being collected. The previous fee was 18 euros per car and 14 euros 50 cents per motorcycle for a day ticket. At the top, you'll find the Vermont Reservoir and Lake Silvretta, where you can enjoy panoramic views of Piesbuin, which is 3,312 meters high. There's parking available at Billerhöhe, and from there you can take lakeside walks or have lunch at the Berghaus restaurant. The road narrows in some spots and cyclists should prepare for a climb with about 10% grade. Up next, we're heading to a stunning alpine lake that you can only reach by cable car. Did you know Lünersee sits nearly 2,000 meters above sea level, making it one of Austria's highest and most picturesque lakes? You can reach it by taking the Lünerseebahn cable car from the village of Brand, which takes you up to 1,970 meters elevation. A round trip ticket costs 24 euros and 50 cents for adults. At the top you'll find the Douglas-Hütte, a mountain hut with a restaurant serving local dishes like Kaiserschmarrn, a great spot to take a break and enjoy views of the lake. For a gentle walk, there is a 6-kilometer trail around Lünersee that takes about 2 hours and offers spectacular views and wildflowers. Fishing is also allowed here with a permit from Douglas-Hütte. On day 6, our sole destination was Salzburg, which took us about 3 hours to reach. But for this part you have an alternate route that will enable you to visit some additional, very impressive highlights like Bad Gastein, Liechtensteinklamm, Werfen Ice Caves, and Hohenwerfen Castle. Did you know Bad Gastein's natural thermal waters have been attracting visitors since the 19th century for their healing properties? The town uniquely combines alpine scenery with urban charm, featuring grand old hotels perched on cliffs and a beautiful waterfall running through its center. At night, the waterfall is illuminated and the iron-rich air here is said to be healthy. For stunning views, take the gondola up to Stubnerkogel mountain at 2,251 meters. Highlights include the 140-meter Stubnerkogel suspension bridge and the Glocknerblick viewing platform. The summit restaurant is a great spot to rest and enjoy the mountain panorama. The Gastein Healing Gallery, a radon mine used for therapeutic treatments, requires pre-booking and costs around 80 euros per session. The Gastein card is usually provided by hotels for free, and it offers discounts on spas, lifts and free local bus rides. The town is quite steep, so the city bus will help you move between the upper and lower parts. Liechtensteinklamm is easily one of the most breathtaking natural spots in Austria. It offers a scenic 1-kilometer walk along boardwalks, tunnels, rock galleries and bridges, ending at a towering waterfall. This walk takes about 30 minutes one way and is the main highlight of the gorge. A recent addition is the spiral helix staircase inside a cavern added after renovations in 2020. Admission costs about 14 euros for adults. If you have a Salzburger land card, a free one-day entry admission is included. In the Teningebirge mountains, just 40 kilometers south of Salzburg, we come across the Werfen Ice Caves, the world's largest ice cave. This place features giant ice stalagmites, frozen waterfalls, and impressive ice palace chambers. To visit, you will take a steep cable car ride and join a guided tour. The tour lasts about 70 minutes and includes climbing 700 steps inside the cave. Temperatures stay around 0 degrees even in summer, so bring warm clothing and sturdy hiking shoes. After the tour, you can relax at the restaurant at the top station, which grants fantastic views of the valley. The cave entry, including the cable car, costs 42 euros on site. Hohenwerfen Castle sits atop a hill near the town of Werfen, just a 12-minute drive from the Werfen Ice Caves. Built in the 11th century, it gives visitors a real glimpse into the medieval life, with exhibits on weaponry and a museum dedicated to medieval arms. Guided tours are available, which last around 45 minutes and take you through the castle's chapel, kitchen, arsenal, and bell tower. You will also come across the Falconry Center, where you can watch daily demonstrations of eagles, falcons, and vultures. Getting to the castle involves a steep 15 to 20 minute walk through the forest. If you prefer, there is a funicular lift for an extra fee. Ticket prices vary depending on how you get up and what experiences you want included, costing around 21 euros for all-inclusive pass. Hohenwerfen is open from April to early November. Situated on the banks of the Salzach River, Salzburg is a compact city famous for its architecture, history, and alpine scenery. We began our explorations with a nice and scenic walk along the river towards the city center. First, we came across the Mirabell Palace, which stood out with its colorful gardens, shaded sitting areas, and a beautiful castle backdrop. Walking 10 minutes further, we reached the Old Town, which has a fantastic atmosphere. It is very lively, filled with markets, restaurants, shops, street musicians, and art exhibitions. We passed by Mozart's birthplace and residence, yet another city's highlight, but decided not to visit this time. Instead, we headed straight to the Hohensalzburg fortress. To reach it, we chose to hike up the steep 10-minute ascent rather than the funicular. Honestly, the castle was one of the best we've visited, very active with lots to learn, explore, and interact with through hands-on exhibits. Different parts of the fortress require separate tickets, so purchasing the full pass gave us the complete experience and access to all of the history and exhibitions. It was nice to learn through the audio and visual displays about the city's archbishops and the importance of salt to the economy. We even got a chance to try some medieval armor. It felt like we were suiting up for battle. There's also a restaurant on site with some stunning views and surprisingly reasonable prices. We really enjoyed how walkable the city was. On top of it, our hotel provided a free public transport pass, so we had that option too. In hindsight, one day was not enough for us. We would definitely spend an extra day or two to enjoy Salzburg more fully. If I were to plan the Austrian itinerary again, I would definitely make some time for exploring the Salzkammergut region. The region is known for its glacial lakes, impressive mountains, and a relaxed, recreational atmosphere. Let's look at the 5 locations you should consider in your itinerary from here: Attersee, Traunsee, Bad Ischl, Wolfgangsee, and Schafberg. Some might think Austria's lakes are mostly crowded tourist hotspots, but Attersee shows that you can find more peace without sacrificing beauty. Attersee is the largest lake in Austria's Salzkammergut region, known for its clear turquoise waters and its connection to the painter Gustav Klimt. The lake is surrounded by charming villages like village Attersee, Nussdorf, Unterach, and Seewalchen, which you can explore by taking a scenic boat cruise. These cruises cost from 20 to 30 euros depending on route, and boats run hourly in summer, so you can hop off and visit different villages along the way. Attersee is also great for scuba diving, with unusually clear visibility of up to 25 meters. Dive centers offer guided dives to underwater walls and pile dwelling sites. There are interesting museums on a beautiful lakeshore around Seewalchen and Schorfling, with plenty of easy hiking and cycling paths. Traunsee offers dramatic landscapes that few lakes can match, with a depth of 191 meters and a mountain rising to 1,691 meters nearby. At the northern end lies the town of Munden, known for its beautiful lakeside setting. One of the highlights here is Schlossort, a castle situated on a small island. You can walk across a wooden bridge to reach it. While entry to the museum inside costs about 5 euros, walking the bridge and courtyard is free and provides scenic views of the lake. Nearby, the lakefront is lined with cafes and features the iconic town hall, decorated with ceramic bells. For more views, take the Grünberg cable car for about 25 euros round trip, which offers hiking, a summer coaster, and views of Laudachsee Lake. Traunkirchen is a charming village on the southwest part of the lake, known for its church with a unique fisherman's pulpit. On the south end, Ebensee town offers access to the Feuerkugel cable car, which takes you up to 1,592 meters for panoramic views, hiking trails, Alpine inns, and a summer adventure park. In winter, this area becomes a ski resort. You can take boat trips on Traunsee, with ferries running from Munden to Traunkirchen and Ebensee, priced at around 30 euros, depending on the destination. Have you ever wondered where emperors went to escape the pressures of ruling an empire? But Ischl is that historic spa town, once serving as the summer capital of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. One of the must-see attractions is the Kaiser Villa, the summer residence of Emperor Franz Josef and Empress Sissi. The guided tours here include visits to the staterooms, which feature original furnishings, and a photo museum. All-inclusive ticket here costs 29 euros and 50 cents. For relaxation, the thermal spas here introduce to modern brine pools, an outdoor saltwater canal, and an inhalation grotto. It is a great option, especially on rainy days. Day tickets are about 32 euros. In 2024, Bad Ischl was the European capital of culture, so the town is nicely refreshed. Wolfgangsee Lake offers a surprising mix of attractions for every type of traveler, with 3 historic towns, multiple ferry routes, and scenic hiking trails to explore. This popular resort area features the cozy towns of St. Wolfgang, St. Gilgen, and Strobel, each with their own unique sights and beautiful angles of the lake and surrounding mountains. St. Wolfgang is well known for the pilgrimage church, which houses a Baroque altar. The town's quaint streets and traditional inns add to the authentic atmosphere. From here, you can enjoy a lively lake promenade and take regularly departing boat tours. In St. Gilgen, known as Mozart's mother's birthplace, you will find a colorful main square and a cable car that takes you up Zwölfachhorn mountain for hiking and spectacular views. St. Gilgen also has a ferry dock, a frescoed town hall, and a small Mozart memorial museum. Strobel, on the quieter eastern shore, provides a lakeside park, wetlands nature reserve, and a family-friendly public beach. The lake has an extensive ferry network connecting all 3 towns and other points, with one-way trips lasting up to 45 minutes, costing around 30 euros. The water quality here is excellent, and many accommodation providers will have their own private lake accesses. And right by the Wolfgangsee, we have Schafberg, a 1,783-meter peak. If you think trains only run on flat tracks, wait until you see Austria's steepest steam cog railway climbing Schafberg slopes. Ascending from lake level to summit in about 35 minutes, it is one of the most authentic and scenic ways to experience Austria's Alpine beauty. The Schafbergbahn has been running since 1893. Tickets cost around 56 euros for adults round trip, with cheaper options if you want to hike down. At the top, you'll find the historic Schafbergspitze Hotel and Restaurant, founded in 1862. From the summit, the views stretch over Wolfgangsee, Mondsee, Attersee, and the Dachstein and Bavarian Alps. There are short trails leading to viewpoints and a summit cross. For those who enjoy hiking, the full climb is 13.6 km one way, with total elevation gain of 1,173 meters. This would take you around 3 to 4 hours to climb up and 2 to 3 hours to go down. As you explore the Salzkammergut region, look out for the Salzkammergut Summer Card, which is free of charge and usually is included by accommodation providers for stays of 3 or more nights. It provides small discounts to various places in the region, including our covered areas of Attersee, Traunsee and Bad Ischl. These discounts can add to some decent savings if you plan a longer trip here. On day 7, we did our share of Salzkammergut explorations. Our accommodation remains in Salzburg and we have another day trip ahead of us. We began by exploring the Dachstein Krippenstein, and on our way back we made a stop at the iconic Hallstatt town. 2 more highlights in this area are Grundlsee and Vorderer Gosausee. Hallstatt, nestled on the edge of Hallstättersee Lake, is a quaint Alpine village known for its 16th century architecture and dramatic mountain surroundings. It is also home to one of the world's oldest salt mines, with a history that goes back thousands of years. The village itself is car-free, so you will need to park in one of the designated lots, P1, P2 or P3, just outside the village, costing from 5 to 18 euros depending on the length. If you're arriving by train, you can take a ferry across the lake for 4 euros cash only, which is timed to match train schedules. The town is quite famous, and when we passed through in the afternoon, all the main paid parking lots right by the village were completely full, with cars struggling to find spots. However, when we returned later around 6 p.m, parking was no longer an issue, so for full day visits, arriving by public transport is a much more convenient option for you. Once in town, we enjoyed a pleasant walk, appreciating the authentic architecture and natural scenery that give Hallstatt its unique charm. Hallstatt has plenty of cafes and shops, perfect for trying famous Austrian cream rolls or grabbing a drink. We really enjoyed the viewpoints that present amazing angles of the town, the lake and the mountains. Although we didn't visit the salt mine, it is definitely a key attraction here. The salt mine tour lasts about 70 minutes and includes a funicular ride, walking through prehistoric tunnels, sliding down wooden slides and seeing an underground salt lake. Tickets cost around 43 euros for adult. It is a good idea to book tickets in advance, as they are often sold out due to high demand. In those cases, you can also arrive early, as there is a portion of daily tickets sold on first come first served basis. At the top of the funicular, you can visit the Hallstatt Skywalk, a platform 360 meters above the village with panoramic views. You can expect to spend at least 1 to 2 hours in the town, and more if you choose to visit the salt mine and skywalk. And talking about skywalks, our next location has not only breathtaking routes and observation points high up the mountains, but also 2 extraordinary caves, all set against stunning mountain scenery. Dachstein Krippenstein is a mountain attraction on the Obertraun side of Hallstatt's lake that consists of 2 main areas, 2 caves, the Giant Ice Cave and Mammoth Cave on the lower part, and a summit offer that contains beautiful hike routes, panoramic viewpoints like the famous 5-finger platform and Welterbe-Spirale observation deck, as well as the unique Dachstein shark exhibit. We arrived around noon, with about 4 hours before closing, and we were told we have time to visit just one of these 2 main parts. The info center had a live screen showing the observation point view from the summit. That made it easy to decide, since on the cloudy day the visibility there was almost non-existent. Ticket prices vary depending on which parts you want to visit. A full pass cost a little over 64 euros per person. Access to the sites is by a 3-section cable car. We took the first lift to Schönbergalm, and that is where the 2 caves are located. To reach the summit attractions, you will need to ascend to the second station, where you can take about 10-minute hike to Wörtherer Spirale and 25-minute hike to Five Fingers, or 40 minutes the other way to the Dachstein Shark. Lastly, the third lift takes you on a panoramic cable car route, and you have some additional hiking options from there. Each cave entrance requires a short 15-minute hike from the lift station. If we compare the two, the giant ice cave was more impressive, featuring real ice formations, lit with colorful lights and some nice show elements. The Mammoth Cave is a dry limestone cave with mostly large passages and a short sound and light show. Keep in mind that hiking footwear is required in the caves and no flip-flops are allowed. Also, it is cold in both caves, where in some parts of the giant ice cave temperatures drop even below 0 degrees Celsius. We were comfortable with long pants, jackets and hoodies, but gloves would have added the perfect touch. Finally, inside the caves, there are many steps to climb, so that would not be ideal for anyone with compromised mobility. At the first lift station, there are restaurants, info points and small wooden huts with free museum exhibitions. So after exploring the caves, we enjoyed a reasonably priced meal with great views before heading back down. Reflecting on our experience, visiting the giant ice cave would have been enough, and instead of visiting the Mammoth Cave, it would have been better to explore the summit hikes for a more holistic experience, even if the visibility from the observation points is not ideal. On a clear day, the full pass would give you enough to keep you busy for a full day. The caves are open from May to late October, while the cable car runs in winter, mainly for skiing, but at that point the caves are closed. Grundlsee is often called the Sturianfjord due to its unique fjord-like shape, setting it apart from other lakes in Austria. This is a stunning lake with a peaceful setting and another quieter alternative to the more crowded areas of the region. In summer, you can take a boat ride which connects the village of Grundlsee with Gössel. A popular half-day trip is to take the boat to Gössel, then walk about 10 minutes to Toplitzsee, a smaller lake known for its legends about Nazi gold. From there, a short wooden ferry ride leads to a waterfall trail. Grundlsee Lake's water is very clean and even drinkable. Public bathing areas along the north shore are perfect for a refreshing swim when the water warms to around 19 to 22 degrees Celsius. These areas often have lawns and small cafes. In winter, the lake often freezes enough for skating, and the nearby Toplitz ski area attracts winter sports enthusiasts. And last but definitely not least in this region is Vorderer Gosausee, renowned for perfectly reflecting the Dachstein glacier. This postcard-perfect mountain lake creates one of the most striking natural mirrors in Austria. It is easy to reach by car or bus from Gossau town, with parking available for €5 per day. From the parking area, a short, flat 10-minute walk takes you to the lake shore, where you will find dark, clear water framed by forests and snow-capped peaks. The lake is popular for a 4.5-kilometer easy trail around its edge, suitable for families and taking about 1 to 1.5 hours to complete. In summer, you can rent rowboats for €8 an hour at the lakeside restaurant and paddle on the chilly water, which typically averages around 16 degrees Celsius. Swimming is allowed, but expect the water to be on the colder side. For hikers, the trail continues beyond Vorderer Gosausee to Hinterer Gosausee, providing more remote scenery. Experienced climbers can explore Alpine routes and Via Ferrata nearby, including the famous Austria Sky Ladder. For our last, day 8, we drive 240 kilometers to visit the Wachau Valley, which stretches along the Danube River between Melk and Krems in Lower Austria. Although we were initially attracted to Austria mainly for its mountains, the Wachau Valley quickly became one of our favorite parts of the country. We had a single day there and we realized that this is another place where we have to come back and explore for longer. In our final part, we will cover Melk Abbey, Aggstein Castle, and the village of Dürrenstein. Melk Abbey is nestled on a cliff in the town of Melk overlooking the Danube River. For over 900 years, it has been a center of spiritual life and culture, making it one of Europe's oldest continuously inhabited monasteries. When we visited, we arrived after closing time and couldn't enter the abbey itself. However, we discovered a huge park nearby that was free to enter. From the park, the views of the abbey and the surrounding area were fantastic. Standing there and reading the informational stands, it was clear that Melk Abbey easily belongs to the list of the best places to visit in Austria. Highlights of the visit include the Imperial Wing Museum, with lavish Baroque halls, the Abbey Library, and the Abbey Church, one of Europe's finest Baroque churches. The gardens, open from April to October, feature a Baroque pavilion and scenic views. The full tour of Melk Abbey usually takes about 1.5 to 2 hours, and the entrance fee is around 16 euros for adults. It also includes an audio guide in over 10 languages. Guided tours in English and German are also available daily. High above the Danube River, further along the Wachau Valley, we find yet another steep cliff and the Aggstein Castle ruin standing at the top. Known historically as a robber baron's stronghold with a fearsome reputation for ruthless tactics, this ruined medieval fortress now offers an interesting experience for visitors. On site, you can freely explore the preserved walls, courtyards and chambers. Key points of interest include the chapel, the Kuhnringer dining hall, and the Rose Garden, a rocky ledge where prisoners were left to die. Wooden staircases and platforms lead to spectacular viewpoints over the Danube Valley and vineyards. The entrance fee is 9.5 euros for adults. Dürrenstein is a picturesque village in the northern part of the Wachau region, known for its stunning blue Baroque abbey church and castle ruins. Did you know that Dürrenstein's castle once held King Richard the Lionheart captive during the 12th century? Today, from the ruins, you get spectacular panoramic views of the Wachau Valley, especially at the sunset. The Dürrenstein Abbey stands out with its distinctive powder blue steeple. You can enter the church for free, and although the interior is small, it is quite ornate. For 9.5 euro, you can explore parts of the monastery that includes a short exhibition. Dürrenstein's medieval town center is tiny but charming, with cobble streets, old houses and shops. The region is known for its wine production, so here you will also find plenty of wine taverns to taste Wachau wines in a cozy setting. From our accommodation, we are a little over 100 kilometers away to the airport, which takes about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Since we're driving along Vienna, we had to spend an extra 30 minutes during the rush hour. And that's all. To recap, on day 1 we did about 200 kilometers from Vienna International Airport to reach Graz via the Riegersburg Castle. On day 2 we went to Wörthersee, which took about 160 kilometers, passing by the Hochosterwitz Castle. Day 3, 190 kilometers via the Grossglockner High Alpine Road to Zell am See. On day 4 we did 226 kilometers, passing the Krimml Waterfalls and the Zillertal Valley to the west of Innsbruck, where we spent 2 nights. Here we are positioned in the middle between the northern and southern attractions, and you can even considering adding 1 extra night if you want to explore both areas. On day 6 we drove 250 kilometers directly to Salzburg for a 2-night stay through a more direct route via Germany. There's an inner route which will better enable you to explore a few of the top places, but it is a longer one, about 350 kilometers and taking 5 hours. I would recommend to break the inner route drive into 2 days if you have time for that, for example staying in Bad Gastein and exploring the top sites the day after on your way to Salzburg. On day 7, we spent the day exploring Salzkammergut area, but it is a lovely place with stunning alpine lakes where you should spend more time if you have that option. Lastly, for day 8, we spent the first half of the day in Salzburg before driving 240 kilometers to Wiesenkirchen in the Wachau Valley. Again, Wachau is an area we would definitely recommend to give at least an extra full day. In summary, I would say that this itinerary was a little bit more driving intense because we really wanted to circle out the entire country in the 8 days we had. So I encourage you to use our route as an inspiration and make adjustments based on your travel duration and personal preferences. In hindsight, our perfect itinerary would probably require around 2 weeks, with longer stops in Tyrolia region, Salzburg city, and Salzkammergut and Wachau areas, as well as more halfway overnight stops for exploring some of the highlighted Alpine towns like Bad Gastein or valleys like Zillertal, while on our way to the more popular tourist areas. Considering that this time we haven't spent any time in Vienna, for us it would have made more sense to use Salzburg airport as our arrival and departure points, which would have positioned us better for exploring some of the top places situated in this part of the country. Think about your route, perhaps it would make more sense for you too. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.